And we are now going to the next presenter. Our next presenter is Fernando Sanches from Spain, and he will talk about informational codes of life. So let me turn on his presentation and enjoy it. It's going to be our last presentation before the lunch break. I can see Fernando Sanches is online, and we can give you a couple of minutes to present yourself. Fernando, turn on the sound.
Thank you. Can you listen me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. When I saw Krishna 1 hour ago, I realized that he has the secret of eternal youth because it looks the same like 20 years ago, while we all are getting older. So I would like to know which is the secret, and he explained it in his presentation. The secret is to be empty of himself and full of love. Yeah, thank you very much, Krishna, because even though I can't understand everything with my small mind, my heart is getting open and open and open. Listen to you.
Okay. And introduction to your presentation. Can you just 30 seconds?
Yeah, I was the first time 21 years ago in this Congress. And I like now to present something related to the last 10 years, the information in living beings. And it is like a small practical application of Krishna's presentation.
Okay, interesting. So your topics will be interconnected. That's even more intriguing. So thank you very much, and let's watch your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Fernando Sanches. I live in Spain, and I work in the field of engineering and health. The first time I was in this Congress was in the year 99, 21 years ago, and it was a big shift in my professional life because I found a really conscious scientists that they are working, looking for the truth. So it was a great inspiration for me, and it changed my professional life forever. In this year, for me, it's an honor to share with you our work of the last 10 years that is related to the biocommunications in biological systems. I'm going to share the screen. So we have found that there are some informational codes that are mathematical constants, and it helps to create information transfer in the living systems. We have developed a hardware-software solution for communicate with these mathematical constants. And it has a hardware part with light emitters because the system is to emit light pulses to the organism. And we have a software part that can be used in cell phones, tablets, or computers. The main application of this technology is the mind-body health, but we are also testing on aesthetic and veterinary. Our theoretical approach is based on light therapy, informational biofields, and intelligent design. The light therapy started in the 1899 with Dr. Vincent from Denmark. He wrote the phototherapy, and he won the Medicine Nobel Prize in the year 1903. And in the beginning of the 60s, Dr. Paul Nogier from France, he found 7 fundamental frequencies to communicate with the organism. It was very important for us. Dr. Nogier was the developer of the auriculomedicine too, and for me was really a genius. We took a lot of ideas of the informational biofields developed by the Russian and German physicists, biophysicists, starting with Alexander Gurich 1 century ago, and the morphogenetics fields, the biosphere theory from Bernatsky, and very significant for us, the coherent fields and biophotons led by Professor Popp in Germany and Professor Boyaikov in Russia. I personally learned a lot with Professor Korotkov related to the energy fields. I worked in the beginning of the GDV devices for several years. And we also took the idea of the intelligent design of nature that has been a constant in really interesting scientists like Niels Bohr. In the year 1932, he pointed to a final cause as the origin of life. And Schrödinger, in his book, What's Life, he talked about the negentropy and the ability of the living system of capture information. Professor Bohm has the theory of the implied order, order that is behind the nature and the living systems. Also, Benioff Mandelbrot developed the fractal mathematics of nature that is very significant for us when applying the light frequencies. And we also took ideas of the holographic principle of the universe from Leonard Susskind. We also have been inspired in a very disruptive theory, the biocentrism from Dr. Lanza from the States. The biocentrists says that the material universe is the result of the life and consciousness, and not the opposite. So this is a very interesting and disruptive theory. We are going to have a look to the coherent fields properties. A coherent field is like a field of biophotons that controls all the processes in the organism. So the coherent field, we consider it as an holographic wave pattern that is flowing in the space-time. And our approach is that the physical body is like an optoelectronic computer that processes the information of the coherent field. So this coherent field is connected and exchanging information within the proper field, very important, with the universal field, with the biosphere, the Earth field, and with, of course, other individual fields. We consider that this coherent fields is the information, and the human being has like 3 different levels: the matter, the energy, and the information. And finally, these 3 levels, there are not any other thing but wave patterns in the space-time. What are some interesting properties of the biofield that we consider? The first one, of course, the coherence. Fritz Albert Pope said that the homeostatic regulation can be explained in terms of coherent states. So when the field has coherence, the homeostatic regulation is working properly. We also work with the holographic principle that each part is an exact representation of the whole. We consider that the human being is a representation of the whole universe. And very significant for us are the fractal properties. We can find these properties in nature. The self-organization, the self-similitude, and the self-replications are properties related to the fractals and are properties through them nature grows and reproduce. The intelligent design is something that we see. The deeper we go in this project, the more clear we have that behind nature is a huge intelligent design. And of course, the information exchange is very important to understand the biofield. And related to the information exchange, I'm going to introduce this concept, the fractal antennas. At the end of the last century, there was a problem with the manufacturers of cell phones because they need to put different antennas to capture different frequencies range as 4G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, etc. And in the beginning of this century, one engineer, Carles Puentes, developed fractal antennas from cell phones. So with a small size, they can detect different bandwidths. How a fractal antenna works? It works with the fractal principle. We can see a fractal antenna here, and there is a shape like a rectangle and 4 different scales. The bigger one, a second one, a third one, and a fourth one. Each scale is specialized in a range of frequencies. So with different fractals, we can receive all the electromagnetic spectrum in a very small and flat antenna. This concept has been very important in telecommunications, and it helped us to understand how the human body works. We consider that the human body could be a fractal antenna. This is Leonardo's drawing, The Man of Vitruvio, and we can see that the proportions of this drawing are absolutely related to the phi number and the powers of the phi number, the golden section. So Leonardo sends to us this message, and the human biological system seems to be a fractal antenna that resonates according what we are knowing with 2 special mathematical approach, the powers of 2 frequencies and the powers of phi frequencies. So the next question is, how can be the information transfer? In the beginning of the 60s, Dr. Nogier made a very significant discovery. He emitted pulses of light to the human skin, and the body reacts. So he found that the body reacted especially with 7 fundamental frequencies that have the property to communicate information to the organisms. In some way, he found the first 7 words of an universal biological language. it was very important for us because give us the ability to communicate directly with the biophotons field. And here are the 7 frequencies. Each one is half part of the next. There are 7, like the 7 musical notes of the 7 colors of the light. And they are specialized in different levels. The first 3 are related with matter, the 4th with energy, and the last 3 with information. They also have affinity with different structures, like for instance, the B with organs, and the D with corpus callosum, and the E, F, and G with the instinctive, emotional, and rational brain. They also have connection with different embryo tissues and have specific applications. For instance, the A is very active in inflammatory processes, and the E in nervous system, the F on endocrine system, and so on. So there is a clear resonance tested by many doctors with these frequencies. This set of frequencies have been applied in different countries, mainly in, of course, France, Germany, Spain. A lot of understanding has been made in Latin America, especially Colombia with the synergetic growth, and also in the States and England have been used for different practitioners. Nogier frequencies are connected by powers of 2. And they are a series of musical octaves corresponding to the D musical note. So they have a strong mathematical structure. How can transfer the information to the body? Well, in telecommunications, there are 2 parts to transfer an information. One is the carrier wave, that is like the car, and the other one is the signal, that is like the driver. In our case, the carrier wave is a light source. In this case, laser, a red laser. And the signal is the information itself, is the frequency. And each frequency, as we have seen, has a specific meaning for the biological system. So to send the frequencies, we have applied nonlinear processes. Which is the significant property of the nonlinear processes? Here we can see in the domain of frequency 3 frequencies. And when we emit these frequencies, we receive these frequencies. But if we develop a nonlinear process, there will be an spontaneous generation of new information. All these frequencies are children frequencies of the parent frequencies. So the system is generating a new information. And this is really remarkable because the children frequencies have 2 properties, that they are coherent with the original frequencies. And these children frequencies have also the property of carry the same information at different, in this case, smaller scales. And why is this important? Because it helps to transfer the information within the body at different scales. In system biology, our bodies are a network of networks. This network is integrated and communicating on multiple scales, like organs and tissues, cells, molecules, atoms, even subatomic particles. And the property of these children frequencies is generate information not only for one scale, for instance, the tissues, but for the different scales that are part of a human system. So by doing these children frequencies, we are emulating the intelligent design of nature, because this system nature creates complex living system with very simple information through fractals. So the nonlinear processes generate a fractal series. We can see, for instance, Nogier frequencies in a fractal nesting. And we can see that it stabilizes coherence between the different frequencies. This could be the A frequency, the B, the C, the D, the E, and all the nodes connect in some points. And these nodes establish coherence in between the frequencies. So the Nogier frequencies are for the coherent field like a tuning fork for a musical instrument. It means that these frequencies help the system to reestablish the coherence where it is lost. And we remember that behind the coherence appears the homeostatic processes. In this case, we applied to Nogier frequencies fractals made with the phi number. We can see, for instance, the A frequency multiplied for a power of phi number, the same frequency for a second power, and the same frequency for a third power. So we have created a fractal system. Also with the B frequency, the C, the D, and we can see that all the fractals are interconnected between them, and the some nodes are in the same points. That helps to create coherence. So by applying these powers of phi, we fractalize the information of frequencies. And these properties of fractals make that the biological systems understand very easily the frequencies and started to resonate with them. The next step is how can we transfer the information to the coherent system. We have two devices. The first one, the biophoton, has a microprocessor that generates the frequencies. So it's the core of the system. And we also have the glasses that has an electronic circuit and several LEDs to communicate the information to the brain. Which are the wave carriers? There are three sources of light that we use at wave carriers. The red laser for the physical body, the violet ultraviolet LED that is for the energy fields, and the red and blue LEDs of the glasses for the brain. And we have a fourth light carrier that is the water itself. We can send the information to water, and it is very easily recorded by water, and then the person drinks the water. In all the cases, all the light sources have a very weak intensity. We are talking about less than 10 milliwatts. So there are not physiological effects. The only effect is the informational effect. So if the system resonates with the frequency, there is a transfer of information and a homeostatic response. But if the system doesn't need the frequency, there is no response and there is not any effect. And how we control the devices and select the frequencies? By a specialized software. We have developed software in 3 operative systems: Android, iOS, and Windows. I'm going to show you now some practical results. As you can see, with a cell phone and the biophoton, it's possible to play frequencies in any place because they both have batteries and they are interconnected by Bluetooth. Which are the applications that we can find? For instance, it is very effective on chronic and acute fatigue, in respiratory and skin allergies, and in some type of herpes, they dry very fast, with arterial hypertension and other conditions of the blood. Very fast effect on wounds and burns, and it's really appropriate for children conditions because it's very soft therapy. The emission of frequencies has a high affinity with the nervous system. As we know, the neurons not only transfer electrons but also photons. So we have found a remarkable effect on local pains, as back pains, in different neuralgias that are very complicated, like trigeminal and sciatica, in many cases of migraines, in locomotive system conditions, and it helps to a fast postoperative recovery, and also is effective to make acupuncture without needles. That is really interesting for sensitive people and children. And I'm going to explain a little bit about the brain and the glasses. When we apply the glasses to a person, he or she has the eyelid closed. So the small amount of photons that pass through the eyelids go to the optical nerve to the end of the brain, and then the information is distributed for all the brain. So these light fractal frequencies gently leads to a balance of the autonomic nervous system that is very necessary for any kind of condition. How it happens? Because they regulate the different brain areas. There are specific frequencies for different brain areas. And when we fractalize these frequencies, the response of the system is very gentle and fast. So by applying the glasses, it's possible to release the stress and create a fast relaxation experience. Most part of people in 10 minutes is really relaxed. And which are the application of these glasses? Especially for all psychosomatic conditions, like stress, anxiety, that is, as you know, a problem bigger day by day. With insomnia, we have found remarkable effects with maybe 2 sessions per week. For smoking and other addictions, is also effective with emotional disbalances, and it helped to release post-traumatic stress in psychology consultancies. And we have found high effectiveness in general chronic pain, like, for example, fibromyalgia, even for the first sessions. So I'm going to show you some studies made by GDV Camera and Biofield Camera. With GDV, there is a study made by Eusebio Gonzalez, a psychologist and engineer, with 25 patients. They were measured before and after the therapies with biophoton device, and it was made a statistical analysis with Scilab software. The statistical significance was less than 0.05, and we can see the area of the 25 patients before and after, and also the intensity before and after. There are significant results. Also, an interesting study, this only for 3 patients treated with just information of the frequencies recorded in water. They drank a small amount of water, and the median increasing of energy in the area was 36%. That is quite big. We can see in one case the area before and after drinking the water, and also in the GDV diagram, we can see before the red line and after the blue one. This study was made by 2 clinic psychologists and a biologist, and it was for 4 patients of psychological conditions. They measured before and after the therapies with the biophoton devices, and the results was clear energy increasing, stress reduction, and very important, high regulation of the autonomic nervous system. We can see here a person with a high level of stress before and after. And here we can find that the emotional pressure in this case was 10/10. And we see the orange bar is before the treatment with filter. The blue one is before the treatment without a filter, and the green one is after the treatment without filter. We can see that before the treatment without filter has the same level of stress that after the treatment without filter. The stress level was reduced from 10 to 3. That is really significant. The same happened with the energy level. With filter before the treatment is similar after filter after the treatment without filter, and very similar to the symmetry and the balance of organs. So where we are now? In the present moment, there are around 240 medical doctors and therapists using this technology of light frequencies in about 20-some countries. And according to whether with our internet database, this year will be applied about 300,000 frequencies. There has been applying about 1,000 per day. And we are developing a new model we call Galax family, and it's a solution for the well-being of the families. The aim is to release the stress, anxiety, and improve the quality of life of all the family. We also have a prototype for aesthetic and beauty, and we made a recent study in an aesthetic center, and with 8 subjects receiving 1 session per week during 2 months. And the results show clear skin improvement, and also, and very important, less stress and better life quality after 2 months, 1 session per week. And we are working within the area of STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Related to science, we apply biology and biophysics. Technology, of course, informatics for the software, and electronics for the hardware. In engineering, we work on wave communication. And in mathematics, we are exploring the powers of 2 and powers of field related with light processes. We like to call this discipline biomatics, that studies the mathematics and programs of the living systems. And I like to show you 2 quotes that I love. They are from Ibn Schrödinger, and one is related to the body, that says that our bodies are nothing but shapes of the variations in the structure of space, because our bodies, of course, are wave patterns too. And related to our minds, he said a very profound sentence: multiplicity is only apparent in truth, there is only one mind. So this study sent us to the knowing of universal consciousness field. And in this quantum field, a human being is just a field of wave patterns. So there is no separation between the universal fields and we humans. And there seems to be that there are no barriers at all, because waves have no barriers. And a human being seems to be a fractal of the universal consciousness. There was a famous doctor in the 15th century in Switzerland called Paracelsus, and he said a sentence that the universe crosses through the goods. It was not possible in this century to understand this, but now we can understand that he said that we are a fractal of the entire universe. Finally, I want to appreciate very much the Russian biophysicist, because thanks to them, from Alexander Gurevich to Professor Boyakov and Korotkov, we can make this study. So I'm very happy to stay here at the Congress and share with you this information. And I'm really grateful to have been invited. And I wish you a very nice day. See you soon. If you want information about us, you can find here our website and also our mail. I wish you the best. Thank you.
Okay, Fernando Sanches' presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and now we're going to a lunch break. Well, for us, it's a lunch break. For you, it can be a breakfast break or a dinner break. We have people from India. I can still see smiling face of Krishna Madappa on my screen. So enjoy it. So we will see you in 1 hour, and we'll continue our Congress. So please write down your, not only congratulations, but also questions. Don't forget about questions and asking them to the presenters, because all the speeches are excellent, high quality, and these are really pearls of wisdom and real scientific research. So please write your questions. We will all record them and forward to the speakers at the end of the day. Thank you, Fernando, once again, and see you at the Q&A session.